Hello everyone and welcome back to the best investing podcast in the world. Today we are going to be going through Palantir's Q4 2024 earnings call. And my view is that, as I predicted a few years ago in my original Palantir deep dive, Palantir is becoming an operating system. This promises to further exponentiate revenue and margins, and over the long term, this sets Palantir on a course to become a platform that powers the entire Western economy, much like electricity does today. So let's get deep into it. Palantir is now manifestly becoming an operating system, with Anduril, the defense company, startup I should say, obtaining a 200x efficiency gain in their ability to manage supply chain shortages via warp speed in Q4 2024. Warp speed is basically a productized version of Palantir's digital twins, designed to help companies get much better and efficient at manufacturing. In effect, the Anduril case is a taste of things to come. We are now going to see multiple operating systems emerge from Palantir's digital twins, and this is very likely to exponentiate Palantir's earning power in a relatively short time. Here's what Ryan Taylor, Palantir's Chief Revenue Officer, said about the Anduril case during the Q4 2024 earnings call.
In Q4, we also announced the customers in the inaugural Warp Speed cohort, which are using Palantir's Warp Speed to gain an advantage in aspects of their manufacturing operating system, including automated visual quality inspections and dynamic production scheduling. Anduril CIO Tom Bosco noted, by using the software, we've seen up to 200x efficiency gain in our ability to anticipate and respond to supply shortages.
Once Palantir instantiates an operating system with a specific function, they can scale it all across the economy at a marginal cost. After Anduril obtains a 200x efficiency increase via warp speed, for example, the cost of delivering similar value to any other company with manufacturing operations is close to zero. The implications of this dynamic are threefold for Palantir. 1. Much more efficient distribution. 2. Far higher margins. And 3. Exponentially higher revenue per customer over time. In turn, this is likely to exponentiate Palantir's free cash flow per share going forward, which you can see depicted in the graph below, which is the red line. The increment from 2020 levels has been primarily driven by Palantir productizing its digital twins, making them far easier to deploy and use. This has improved the unit economics, enhancing Palantir's ability to produce cash, which is further evidenced by the rapidly rising cash from operations, which is the blue line on the graph in the screen now. Essentially, the shift towards becoming a series of operating systems simply adds inconceivable fuel to the fire. This shift is well illustrated by the rapid progress of Palantir's Rule of 40 score, which you can see in the graph on the screen now, which came in at 81% in Q4 2024. According to this rule, which is widely used in the SaaS industry, the sum of a company's revenue growth rate and adjusted operating margin should exceed 40% in order to be investable. Palantir's score of 81, and more specifically the rate at which it is growing, is indicative of an exceptional fundamental situation, the combination of extraordinary demand and an unusual ability to scale profitably. For example, Palantir's Rule of 40 score is now twice that of ServiceNow, Shopify, and Salesforce, which are actually great companies, and 58% higher than that of Adobe. The graph that you can see on the screen now displays the Rule of 40 for publicly traded SaaS companies. By the way, SaaS stands for Software as a Service, in case you didn't know. You can see how scoring above 50 is exceptional, with the vast majority scoring under 40. The contrast with Palantir's rapidly rising score, which actually wouldn't fit in the graph on the screen now, best evidences the extraordinary fundamental properties of Palantir's business. The Q4 2024 earnings call is thus a gratifying moment for me, since I've been saying for a long time that Palantir was evolving into an operating system. In my original Palantir deep dive, I said the following, and this was written back in March 2022. There is a strong flywheel forming here as Palantir continues to onboard customers from different industries, 50 and counting per their latest 10K, it gets better at providing valuable compute to each industry. For instance, the more clients it deals with in the healthcare space, the better it gets at providing customers in that industry with computation that is directly relevant to their goals. As the two KPIs that I explore in section 6 continue to progress, this flywheel is likely to have Palantir acting as a gatekeeper in the cloud computing space. In 10 years' time, it may be common to build a company starting with the digital twin first, much like is the case with websites today. Buying raw compute will likely seem suboptimal, to say the least. The second derivative of this is that we will end up seeing entire industries running on Palantir software. This is quite clear when looking at Skywise, for example. Down the line, this can have Palantir not only making a lot of money, but being quite powerful, Google/Alphabet style. Thus, I believe that the shift towards becoming a series of operating systems doesn't just exponentiate the ease of deployment, it ultimately turns Palantir into a platform that powers the entire Western economy as electricity does today. After the efficiency gains obtained in Q4 2024, switching off warp speed is likely not an option for Anduril. As this happens across a growing range of verticals across the economy, we are likely to see Palantir evolving into a provider of what I call vertical ontologies. With the onset of AI, whoever has the most and highest quality data can train the most competitive AI models. The value is therefore not in the models, but rather in the data and in the underlying infrastructure that enables its adequate management. As Palantir creates operating systems for subsequent verticals beyond manufacturing, they become the key infrastructure provider for any participant that operates within that vertical. For these participants, switching Palantir off means instantly ceasing to be competitive in the marketplace. This is also why I believe that Palantir is actually a robotics company, and why Tesla's humanoid robots will have to plug into its vertical ontologies in order to be truly productive. Taking the Anduril example, a collection of 100 humanoid robots wouldn't know how to truly deliver value in their manufacturing operations without running on warp speed in the first place. This is because warp speed gives the humanoid robots all the data required for them to make manufacturing more efficient and ultimately make good use of their ability to navigate three-dimensional space. The robots will come with a generalized ability to navigate three-dimensional space, but they simply won't be useful at a manufacturing facility, for example, unless they're plugged into a digital twin. This will likely happen across verticals throughout the economy, which will likely have Palantir and Tesla becoming competitors over time. In the graph below, you can see a depiction of what I believe the economy will evolve to over the coming 2 decades. A collection of horizontal ontologies that will interact with the world via vertical ontologies, or collectively, as I call it, the ontology grid. So now let me explain what the ontology grid is and why it will take the job of many individuals. Take autonomy, for example. It's a horizontal force cutting across industries. It marks a fundamental leap in our ability to convert processed information into direct action in an autonomous way. Once Tesla refines an AI capable of independently navigating three-dimensional space, that intelligence can be deployed globally through an API at a near zero marginal cost. But for autonomy to be truly effective in specific fields like healthcare or construction, the AI must be trained further on domain-specific datasets. This is where Palantir's vertical ontologies come into play. By equipping companies across an expanding array of industries with digital twins, Palantir is in effect constructing fully realized digital replicas of entire sectors. These replicas hold the specialized data that will teach an autonomy AI, for example, to perform surgeries, construct buildings, or even engage in combat. In effect, the ontology grid is on a course to automate any task that can be systematized. The ontology grid is therefore quietly enclosing businesses, and the grip is tightening. Just as the internet reshaped the economy by centralizing power within a few key intermediaries, the ontology infrastructure is poised to systematically commoditize an ever-growing share of business operations. As the ontology grid ingests data at an exponential rate, the competitive advantage of companies not plugged into this grid will steadily erode. On the other side of the equation, Palantir is set to grow orders of magnitude from here over the long term due to these aforementioned dynamics. In the meantime, the thesis continues to be de-risked every quarter as Palantir strengthens its balance sheet, as you can see depicted in the graph below. Total cash and short-term investments, which is the red line on the left axis, is an order of magnitude higher than total debt, which is the blue line plotted on the right axis, and this spread is actually growing. This is ultimately why I believe that Palantir has 100x potential from here, but as always, this is not financial advice, and that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed this update, can you please share this with one friend whom you think will enjoy it? These deep dives are for free, and so the only way this grows is with your help. Thank you very much, take care, and until next time.